Well, how's this for a surprise? You know, I've been itching to talk about more Disney films on this channel, and with this movie being 25 years old now, well, now's a perfect time to discuss what I consider the most underrated animated Disney film of all time. Guys, my name is Zack. Welcome to my channel where I love discussing all things Disney and all things cinema and entertainment in general. And I really do appreciate you guys clicking on this thumbnail today. I sincerely hope you enjoy your stay because judging from the title, yep, we're looking at The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is 25 years old now. And this thing was directed by the same duo who brought you Beauty and the Beast, which, as you guys are probably aware by this point, is my personal favorite Disney film of all time. With original music once again by Alan Menken and starring the likes of Tom Hulce, Demi, Kevin Kline, and Tony J. And obviously this is based on the famous Victor Hugo novel, which is much darker than this. Don't worry, you're not going to see any heroes die in this movie or anything. Disney wouldn't do that. But this movie tells the same basic story with an ugly duckling element. We follow disfigured Quasimodo, voiced by Tom Hulce, who's the bell ringer of Notre Dame Cathedral, who bides his time locked away in a tower under the watch of his guardian Frollo. And Frollo is portrayed as a judge in this movie as opposed to a priest in the original novel. With only stone gargoyles to keep him company, Quasimodo longs to be with other people, leading to his chance encounter with the enchanting gypsy Esmeralda, voiced by Demi Moore. And when the beautiful young woman catches the attention of Frollo, Quasimodo must help to keep her out of his clutches. I meant what I said, guys. This film is, in my opinion, the most underrated out of all of Disney's canon. This movie came out back in the year 1996, which was pretty much on the downturn of the famous Disney Renaissance period. This was shortly after The Lion King became the highest grossing animated movie at that time. And honestly, I think Hunchback deserves to be held in higher regard, along with movies like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin and all those. Because, give them credit, this was a very ballsy story for Disney to go and adapt, especially for being G-rated. This movie is extremely dark, and I can totally understand if parents would not want to show their children a movie that has themes of sin, the corruption of church, even lust. Good God, Frollo sniffing Esmeralda's hair? This is a Disney flick, just to remind you all. So yeah, I can certainly see why people would be detracted away from Hunchback just because of its themes, but I'm gonna take that out of the equation for right now because this is one of my personal favorites. Now, I gotta give the studio mad props for being so willing to explore such darkness, and with the message that is trying to get across what makes a man versus what makes a monster, it comes across very well. It's really kind of moving when you look back on the movie as a whole. And for that reason, the dynamic between Quasimodo and Frollo is extremely investing. Which brings me to what everybody remembers about The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the villain. Which brings me to the one thing everybody remembers about The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the villain. Frollo is such a bastard, guys. Just watch that opening scene. He kills the mother of an infant, tries to drown the baby because of how deformed it appears, all because he's a man of the book. He's trying to justify his actions every single time, claiming to be a soldier for God despite all the horrible shit he's doing. You don't root for Frollo, but you just can't help but be fascinated watching one man descend into madness, becoming a monster, if you will. Quasimodo, on the contrary, is quite the light of joy in this story, voiced by Tom Hulce, most famous for starring in Amadeus, which is one of my dad's favorites. You just want to hug this guy every second he's on screen. There's such a softness to his voice, and even though his singing voice is not the strongest, you don't really care because it still sounds pretty wonderful. Speaking of the music, guys, it's still by Alan Menken, so you know that it must be bloody brilliant. And I would argue that this is among Alan Menken's best scores because this does what a musical is supposed to do. The opening number gives you a perfect backstory. Topsy Turvy is a fun group number. Out There has landed me a couple of my recent stage roles. It's a fantastic song. God Help the Outcasts is extremely moving, and the Hellfire song, God Have Mercy, still sends shivers up and down my spine. I love the choir in the background. It's absolutely magnificent. It makes everything feel so much grander, which, speaking of, the movie is grand. The cathedral looks unbelievable. Notre Dame is so vast. I would say the atmosphere even rivals The Lion King, just speaking in terms of grand scope in the animation. I'm serious, guys. The animators did some wonderful work on Hunchback. The environment is so vast. The character designs are all very distinct. Bravo all around. I also think the romance between Esmeralda and Captain Phoebus, voiced by Demi Moore and Kevin Kline specifically, I think it's fairly good. I really enjoy that first scene they share together where Phoebus convinces her to call Sanctuary, and then they're shooting one-liners at each other. And similar to Beauty and the Beast, mad props that the storytellers did not have them fall in love right away. You know, it's not typical old-school Disney storytelling here. And even though Quasimodo is crushing hard on Esmeralda, I don't think I'm giving anything away when I'm saying this. The main character does not get the woman at the end, but yet he's still embraced among the crowd at the end for who he is despite his appearance, and I think it's still crowd-pleasing enough, but a very different approach for Disney. Now, my only issue with Hunchback of Notre Dame, despite me loving it, it's not really a nitpick, more so a nuisance. Yep, you guessed it, it's the gargoyles. Now, I do think it's very clever that they named these gargoyles as a tribute to Victor Hugo, but these guys are just not funny, because they are constantly going against the message of not judging people based on their appearance by hurling insults at one another and at Quasimodo based on their physicalities. No, you're the fat, stupid one with the big mouth. Yeah, with their inclusion, it's kind of inconsistent, huh? Which, speaking of, I really wish that the movie would have followed through with Quasimodo just being able to imagine them. The whole idea of a whole musical number playing out in his mind but never happening is so sad. But no, they're fighting off the guards in the big action climax, and there's no conceivable way Quasimodo could have imagined them. How on earth they might have done so, I don't know. I try not to dwell on that as much, because despite that one big flaw, I cannot express my adoration for the Hunchback of Notre Dame nearly enough. And I cannot wait to rewatch it myself more times in the future. I cannot recommend it to you guys enough. I'm gonna give the Hunchback of Notre Dame an A. I realize a lot of you might think I'm crazy for giving it this high a rating, but this is top 5 Disney animation for me easily. I really respect that this film was willing to take the chance that it did just by existing, and it is a grand occasion to say the very least. But of course, this is all just my opinion. Feel free to sound off in the comments as much as you like with your thoughts on Hunchback of Notre Dame. Have you guys read the original Victor Hugo novel? And let me know what's your most underrated Disney animated feature of all time is, because I absolutely love discussing all things Disney and all things entertainment in general. And guys, seeing that feedback and getting to interact with you just makes it all the better. But hey, if you guys are loving this content as much as I'm enjoying making it for you, then I would recommend smashing that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. This channel is on the road to 1,000 subscribers, which I'm hoping to reach that milestone very soon. You guys will be the first ones to know, of course, whenever a new upload hits this channel. And it's also completely free to you guys. And don't forget to smash that thumbs up button on your way out if you enjoyed what you saw today. That would be much appreciated. And guys, stay tuned for more exciting content hitting this channel very soon. I am stoked to finally be checking out the West Side Story remake as well as Don't Look Up in theaters this weekend. And of course, I'll keep trudging along my Spider-Man playlist. I'm just finishing that up in the build up to No Way Home releasing on the 17th. So lots of stuff to keep your eyes out for, guys. Y'all are the best. I cannot thank you guys enough for your support. And with all that being said, back talk commence.